Hello everyone and welcome to a kind of video that I have not filmed in a very long time, but for good reason. I have got a sponge smackdown for you guys here. I would film these more, but I don't like to waste my beauty sponges, and I don't like to have a bunch of them sitting out that have been used, you know what I mean? I don't like to use a sponge once and then be like, time for the next sponge, and then have a bunch of used sponges. I just feel like it's so wasteful. So wasteful, especially when it comes to something like a beauty blender when it's like $20 and that's an expensive sponge. I want to preserve it. I want to use it for its shelf life, you know? Or at least until I feel like it's gross and I need to use a new one, which is kind of the stage where I'm at today. So this beauty blender was so kindly sent to me by one of you all. Cindy, thank you so much. I know you sent this to me a long time ago, but like I said, I just like to work through my sponges and not waste them at all. So I'm very excited. This one actually comes with this bling ring, so you know it's a little holder for your beauty blender when it's drying and everything. And I'm going to be testing it out against a dollar supposed dupe, supposed even better than the original. We shall see. This is the AOA Studio Wonder Blender, and it is specifically the black one. I have heard that the black one is the best. Just like I feel like I hear that the pink one in the Beauty Blender version is the best. It says it's a high-def sponge, latex-free. This was from ShopMissA. I did a big order so that I can do a full face of first impressions for you guys on some of their makeup and whatnot, because I hear some good things about some of their products, and I've also heard great things about this sponge. So like I said, this black sponge, I have heard it is supposed to be just as good, if not better, than the Beauty Blender, and for $1, that's a huge claim, and I'm very excited to test it with you guys to see if it is the truth. And it basically describes itself as a beauty blender in that it is a cosmetic sponge designed for easy applying and blending. You can use it with primers, foundations, powders, cream blushes, and other complexion products, whatever you would like. And the unique design, what is great for large areas of the face and hard to reach areas. So here it is. I'm excited. It really does feel like the Beauty Blender, and it looks like the Beauty Blender. So you can see it's just a black teardrop sponge here. It's got the one pointy end and it's got the flat round end there. It's got that same firmness. I feel like that's the main thing that's different between the Beauty Blender and the Real Technique sponge, which I really love the Real Technique sponge, I do, but it is a lot less dense feeling than the Beauty Blender. So, oh, it's so cute and so fancy. Okay, so, oh, oopsies. I guess from sitting in there a little too long, it kind of shaped itself to the shape of the stand that it was in, so I apologize, but you can see the ShopMissA one, or the AOA Studio, is quite a bit larger, and it's actually quite a lot firmer than the Beauty Blender, which I don't really remember. I don't know why I'm remembering the Beauty Blender to be a lot firmer than this one is. They've got the same kind of softness, but this one almost feels more silicone-y. It just feels more dense, like it doesn't have as many air bubbles in it. Maybe you can see the texture, maybe. And then with the bounciness, I think you can see pushing down, it takes a lot more effort on the black one. Can you see that? But overall, I mean, same-ish shape. I think the Beauty Blender is a little bit slimmer, and this one is a bit fatter. I kind of love that this one has a much wider base, because it really will get more coverage on the face than the original Beauty Blender. So yeah, okay. Let's go ahead and run these both under some water so that we can see how they absorb and, you know, how big they expand and everything. And then we can go ahead and try putting some foundation on my face. Alright, so here we go with the pink one. And then the black one. Is there soap in here? Do you guys see all the bubbles? Is that just from air? Alright, so here they are. This one still feels really dense. Can you see how it takes a little bit of time for it to even like spring back? Beauty Blender just right away. Boing, boing, boing. But you can see the Beauty Blender expanded a lot. Once they are wet, they are much more similar in size. Still the shape, there is that little bit of a difference in that this one has a wider, flatter base to it. And like I said, I think the springiness, it just feels very, very dense on the inside. And can you see the difference in the texture of them? The Beauty Blender has quite a bit more porousness to it. I know it's a little hard since this one is black, and it does. It's got that wiki kind of a texture to it compared to the Beauty Blender. Alright, so I went ahead and put primer on. For this review, I'm going to go ahead and use my trusty Revlon ColorStay. This one applies well with a sponge, so I figured it would be a good one to test here. Get you a bit zoomed in so you can see a little bit better. Boop. So we will start off on this side, and we will start with my tried and true Beauty Blender. You can see it just dabs it on very nicely, very effortlessly. I'm gonna go ahead and just put on a little bit more here for a little extra coverage in some areas. And voila, there you go, nice and easy as it always is. So now we can go ahead and do the true test, slash the test that I'm really excited to do. We can go ahead and test out this, hopefully, dollar dupe here. Can you hear it going against my face? I think that kind of speaks to the density of it. Dang though. I mean, that did blend in quite flawlessly, and I think we might have a dollar dupe, boop, boop. I'm just gonna go ahead and do the same thing, add a little extra coverage on this side. There we go. Here, just so you can see absorption and whatnot. I mean, it's a little difficult to tell just because these are such different colors, but I feel like with this black one, it really didn't sink in as much. I think it's because it's less porous, like I was saying, and so I felt like it really sat on top like the foundation did, but it blended in really, really nicely. I mean, would you be able to tell the difference? Or would you be able to tell, like, seeing me walking down the street, like, hey, that girl definitely used 2 different sponges on each side of her face. So yeah, guys, there you have it. There was the Smackdown. I have to give it to this dollar one. I mean, it does feel a bit different, you know, like I was saying, it's a lot denser, and there is like that kind of whop whop when you're going up against your face. It's not quite as soft and pillowy as the Beauty Blender, but I mean, just in comparison with the prices, I say why the heck not, you know? I feel like it applied just as well, just as nicely, just as quickly. Like I said, why the heck not? On the ShopMissA site, it says that there's free shipping over $35, so why not order 35 of these? For 35 bucks, you could get what, like 1.5 beauty blenders? Almost 2 beauty blenders? But you could get 35 of these. And if you're like me and you go through a sponge every about 3 months, that's what, gonna last you over 10 years? I mean, can you imagine 11 years down the line? Holy crap, I finally ran out of my beauty sponges. I gotta order some more. Hope ShopMissA is still in business, you know? So, I mean, shoot. For those of us who are balling on a budget and whatever, I mean, if you just like to pretend you're balling on a budget and you just like to be very thrifty with your money, like I said, dollar sponge. I say, why the heck not? Worked very well. So thank you to those of you who told me about this AOA sponge here, this black one. I'm very excited to keep on using it and everything. And also thank you to Cindy. I will still enjoy using the original Beauty Blender here. Don't you even fret. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, found found it helpful in seeing whether or not this ShopMissA/AOA Studio blending sponge was in fact a dollar dupe for the original Beauty Blender. If you did enjoy this video, found it helpful, whatever the case may be, please do go ahead and give me a thumbs up down below. I would really appreciate it. And if you're new here, hey, hi, hello, how are you? You can go ahead and subscribe if you want to see more content from me in the future. You can become a member of my casserole family here on my channel. I would love to have you here. And as always, I just hope you guys are all doing well. And until next time, just stay well until then. Bye!